Anyway, I did want to introduce John, VA3RQ. Some of you know John from the club. John's been a long time standing member, and of course, as our technical guy, guru, that looks after our repeaters. He tuned up a RMI when the new antenna, he was up here when the new antenna erection was done last summer in August. And he's tuned up our duplexers and checked our amplifiers and the cables. He's got all the equipment. He's just a real asset to our club and that. I, along with John and a few other individuals, we belong to an organization called the Escarpment Repeater Association. And that's made up of people that kind of oversee various repeaters, starting with the Niagara Escarpment, all the way up through, from starting at Niagara Falls, all the way up through Grimsby and into Hamilton, and north of Hamilton into Carlisle, north of Carlisle into upwards towards Orangeville and Owen Sound, and up the Bruce Peninsula to you know, the various different areas, Lion's Head, and then of course over to Manitoulin, and where McLean's Mountain is in RMI, that's part of the escarpment bluff, believe it or not, that originated. If I'm not into geology or how that all, but the Canadian Shield and everything. I mean, Manitoulin was probably part of the Bruce Peninsula at one time and broke away or whatever, and that ridge.
You're sinking now.
Yeah.
You're sinking.
Sinking in what? Audio or just
no.
trying to say something?
You said there used to be part of the Niagara Escarpment, and now you're separated. I said you must be sinking because the water's surrounding.
Well, that could be it too. Yes. Well, and that something must be happening because the water levels are down this year. So that's a good thing, maybe. Not as many people, so it's rising a bit. But anyway.
That's a leak around the plug.
Yeah. Anyway, so yes, talking about it. So I want to thank everyone. John, were you listening on Thursday night to the Procom Net?
I was kind of half listening to it, sort of.
Okay. I think.
But yeah, I heard there was a lot of activity from up your neck of the woods, which is unusual because recently it's been noticed that hardly anybody ever checks in from up north anymore, and all of a sudden there was a huge flood of check-ins. So it's like, well, hey, what's going on? Is Al cracking the whip up there or what?
Well, not necessarily cracking the whip, but we have mentioned it. But the issue, and I thought what we do is maybe touch upon Asterisk or the All-Star system this morning a little bit, just to kind of fill you a little bit in, because what's been happening, and I'm getting it from a lot of amateurs, so it's not just individuals, it's a lot of you not sure of how the system. So I emailed John and asked if you were available this morning, John, to come and join us, because John looks after the whole system right across Ontario, and he is the guru guy that links all the repeater systems and the groups together. And I thought what we do this morning is go over so that you'd have a little better idea, maybe feel a little bit more comfortable in checking into the Procom Net, because as you can see, there's a lot of systems across the province, and a lot of us are interested in the ARES component and the emergency services. And because it is analog versus all the digital stuff, anybody, you know, it's easy. You don't need a digital radio. All you need is an FM radio, either on 2 meters or 440 in our area, to check in and join it. And because a lot of you like to experiment with hotspots, there is the ability to get an All-Star Link hotspot and run it from your house that way. So I have a little bit of a presentation that I would like to show you. And John, I'm going to have you jump in at any time. And then what I'm thinking after this short presentation, we could bring up some of the websites and show them the maps and show them the you know, the list of and maybe we could get you to do a demo on linking some of the systems, and we'll have the bubbles come up on the map and go from there, and hopefully answer any questions anybody may have in relation to
Yeah,
that.
okay.
So,
Should be able to do that.
yeah, okay, well, that's great. I'm just going to bring up the thing, and I think Rusty, you had some doings with this PowerPoint presentation, which is good because a lot of your system, when we originally looked at that, was included with it. So I'm just going into my thing. I apologize for being a little tardy here. So we'll go here, and where are we?
Yeah, by the way, I have your node is disconnected from the network right now, where we're connected directly to my node here at the house.
Oh, perfect.
In case you wanted to know to start with.
Absolutely, that's great, because yeah, I'm not going to show. And then,
I have the ability to do this right from my own home.
And that's the nice thing about this system here, for sure. So first of all, can everybody see the PowerPoint on the Asterisk? Okay.
Yes, we can.
It's all good.
Okay, so just to have a look at what Asterisk is, okay? And it's amateur radio. Asterisk wasn't developed for amateur radio. And please jump in here, John. So what is Asterisk? It's an open source free software, okay? So it's a software that amateurs have taken, and it was used for the PBX commercial telephone systems. It wasn't really meant for amateur use, but amateurs got a hold of it, and we can use this particular software to link repeaters that have internet access and nets or emergency situations. And part of the Escarpment Repeater Association is that we can easily do that. Now we have to thank John for our node here. 2359 is the node number. So you remember when I did the IRLP presentation, it's very similar asterisk to that, in that every node has a number associated to it. It's like a telephone number to a telephone, right? But it's a node number associated to a repeater or system that runs the Asterisk or All-Star. We have it in little current. If I wanted to connect to Firth, Germany, node number 2458, I just punch that in, but there's an access and a connect and a disconnect code, which I'll get into in a few minutes. And you can link little current to any other node or system, like we can with IRLP, similar with D-Star to various reflectors or other repeaters. Same thing can happen on Asterisk with that. So you can use it from your mobile, handheld, or base stations, right? So wherever you are, it's really neat. And you can access local Asterisk nodes and connect them to a distant Asterisk node. So, I mean, we are all familiar with this concept where we have a computer that is running the node at the tower site that is plugged into the internet. So that information goes into the computer, comes across on your DTMF pad, either on your handheld or on your microphone, you know, on your radio. You punch in the code, goes through the computer and goes across the internet, connects to the other computer at that, and then goes out through their repeater system. And of course, it doesn't matter what radio use. It can be any model. It doesn't have to be an ICOM. It doesn't have to be Kenwood or a Yaesu or a Bofang or a Linko or whatever. Any radio that can do FM can do this system.
Excuse me, Al.
Yes.
A node, is that a reflector?
A node is considered a repeater or all-star link access point.
It's not a reflector.
It's not a reflector. Asterisk.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, Asterisk does not have reflectors. They have a repeater or what we call a hub that allows a lot of nodes or repeaters to connect to it.
So
And
XRF 103B, that's a reflector, not a node?
that is a reflector. That's D star.
Okay.
Okay. Whatever I told you about D star, erase from your mind. Whatever I told you about IRL.
No, don't erase it. We'll have to tell him again.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But don't try and confuse it with this because it's different. Okay, not much. It works primarily the same way. And please, John, if I'm missing something, jump in too.
Well, okay, if I can interject here.
Yeah.
Okay, technically, if you have a node, it could be in one form or another. It could be like a simplex node or connected to a repeater, and they are not considered to be reflectors. But I have to say the technology that the node runs on can also act as a reflector or a hub node. It has that capability built in. It just depends on how it's employed. I don't know if that potentially each node has the ability to operate as a reflector, which is something different from the IRLP, but typically we don't treat it that way, mostly because you don't have the internet bandwidth to do that. So a typical node connected to somebody's home internet, let's say, doesn't have the bandwidth to act like a reflector because it can't handle enough of the multiple connections. But it's basically, not to dissuade what Al is saying, the hardware itself basically can act like a reflector or a simplex node or a duplex node. It has that capability. It all depends on how it's employed.
So like with D-Star, we had to upgrade the old XRF 103 reflector because we were getting too many people connecting with hotspots and repeaters, and it was overloading it. The CPU on the computer that was handling, as John just mentioned, it was in a reflector mode. It just didn't have enough bandwidth and it would crash. And that's why we were having a lot of problems on the D-Star net. So Ramesh and the guys, they got a new server with a lot larger bandwidth and a lot larger internet production on it. And we put a whole brand new, and if you've gone to our new reflector page, you will see that. And if you were listening on D-Star last night, you'd see that it's flowing 100% much better, providing we leave the gaps between transmissions and allow timing. But that's human error. That's not so much the computer error. So we have a number of systems on Manitoulin Island that are running in basically the simplex or the repeater mode. So if you look around Manitoulin, one of the systems we have is our Manitowoning repeater, D3RII on 444.175. You need a 156.7 hertz tone to access it, but it is a node, and it is, I think the internet is down at the tower site right now, so it may not be active. Rusty and I have got to go, and whenever we can get a chance, along with Duncan, who lives down there, that helps us with the fire department, because it's housed in the fire department shed building, and it's on their tower there, but it provides a pretty good system. If you're in Manitowoning or Wiki or that area with a handheld, no problem at all to access that repeater. And that can be linked into the numerous systems, and at one time they were linked in all the time. Then we have our, go ahead, Claude.
How would I recognize RII as a node? Only by belonging to the club, or is there something in particular that will tells me, oh, that's a node? Is there there's no letters saying like
it's
N?
It's listed on our website as a node. I mean, you can look up asterisk nodes in the area, and you will find the E3RII, and you just listen on 144.175 and to get into the node. Pretty much all the asterisk nodes, you have to transmit a tone to keep it from you don't want noise or whatever to bring the repeater up and tie up the system. So
So you
they
recognize
all
it
have-
by the tone?
Well, no.
Well,
No. It's on a list, basically. You don't just, not all repeaters are asterisk nodes and not all asterisk nodes are repeaters. It's just on a list. You know that RII is an asterisk node. You know that RQQ is an asterisk node. You know that VE3WVU in Espanola is an asterisk node. It's listed. You can look it up.
Okay, so there is a list available that specifies all of these
There's
frequencies.
a list
as-
there's a list of repeaters on our website.
but
Well,
just
I-
for our
No.
nodes.
Claude,
But I
what
mean,
you
Yeah,
for
put
the-
well,
in-
yeah.
I'm looking for let's say the list for all the nodes, let's say for Ontario.
Well,
for
I'm going to
Canada.
show you
There is
that.
a
I'm
page.
going to show you that.
Oh, okay.
There is a master list of all the all-star
yeah,
nodes
yeah.
on the internet, and you can see where they are
I'm
and
going to
what the
give
node
you
numbers
all.
are.
Yeah, I'm going to give
I'm
you
sorry.
all
I'm just
the-
getting. I guess I'm just getting ahead of everybody here.
Absolutely. I know how anxious you can get, Claude. So not a problem. Hang tight, buddy. We'll get you all the information. And then certainly. So I just heard the ID go off, right? So if you've got a radio on the RQQ SIM mode, which is the next one here, little current RQQ, with it, if you key it up, is there a code to make the ID go off, John?
Yeah, try a *70.
VE3RQQ, Little Current, Ontario.
Hmm.
VA3WIK, Hampton, Ontario.
Shut off all my camera and my audio.
Okay, so
I'm still on it, but
I don't know if it's muted. Is it?
they can't see or hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, Bob.
we
the
can
red
hear you
lights,
fine, Bob, but we can't
Video,
see you.
Yeah, and the camera.
No, this is still active.
You're not muted,
Yeah.
Bob.
And
We
it's-
can't see you, but we can hear you.
I think it's still active.
No, they both got a red line through 'em.
No, they
And he
don't.
can't hear us.
No. Anyway,
The wonders of technology.
so I don't know if I was thinking my the camera up above here, but I'll go here again.
VE3RQQ, Little Current, Ontario. VA3WIK, Hampton, Ontario. Transceive.
So and that tells you now is little current is connected to one of the nodes that John is connected to down in Oakville. John lives in Oakville down there, so he has that. So we have direct contact through that system right at the present time. So in regards to V3RQQ in little current, and here is where the confusion is getting, because I'm getting a number of you checking in with Ward, WGK, or Gary, TTO, down in Toronto that are the net controllers of the Procom net. And you hear them fine. You hear everybody else around the province coming in as clear as a bell. You hear the guys in Sudbury. You hear the guys, all around Toronto, Hamilton, like they're sitting right beside you. But all of a sudden, you're sitting at your location and you can't hear the guys in Elliott Lake. You can't hear the guys in Little Current. You can't hear, or you may hear I break the squelch and you're hearing me very fuzzy and you're wondering what the hell's going on. But if you key up the node, you get a tail with a beep coming back, a courtesy tone, and you're thinking, well, it's a repeater, but how come I can't hear anybody locally getting into me unless you're sitting right beside them? Because if you look here, it's a simplex node, okay? It's not a repeater. It's a simplex radio that is up at the tower site, and we have it multi-coupled into the D-Star antenna system. John put together some coupling cans, multi-coupler, so that we could run the two systems off the same antenna. And we talked about this as a possibility down the road as one option for RMI down the road. The issue is it's just a simplex radio. It's a Motorola radio running about 50 watts or so. And it needs a 156.7 hertz tone to access the system. Now, if you key it up, you'll hear the tail and the doo-dop beep come back to you. So it makes you think you're on a repeater. But what happens is you transmit and you receive on the same frequency, 146.550. When you transmit on that frequency, it goes into the radio. The radio is connected to the computer where the internet is plugged into the back of the computer. So it takes your audio, puts it on the computer, and then sends it out through the internet to whatever connection.
But it does not retransmit it locally. That's why you can't hear anybody. Like I can hear Al simplex, and I could hear Carter the other night when he was trying to check in simplex, because I'm close enough to them and my antenna's high enough. I could hear them, but guys from Elliott Lake and everybody that were checking in, I couldn't hear them simplex. So it's not a repeater. It's just that you can't transmit and receive at the same time, or receive and transmit at the same time. It transmits, but it goes over the internet. It doesn't go out locally.
Kind of like a wide area hotspot.
Yeah. So that's basically how it operates. Okay. So we don't really use that system to talk locally. Okay. Because it's not meant to talk locally. It's meant to talk to the gang in Southern Ontario or wherever you're connecting to across. Now, if the nice thing is, why does everybody able to get into it? Because it's up on McLean's Mountain, it's up the tower, 200 or 300 feet up the tower, and it's running 50 watts of power, right? So the transmit out of that radio goes right across Elliott Lake, Manitoulin, even the gang in Sudbury can key it up and get into it. So, but it doesn't repeat locally, so you're not going to, as Rusty just mentioned to you. So that's the difference with that system. So it can go to a simplex node, or it can go to a repeater. We opted on this system to have it on a simplex radio node.
A lot less hardware, less hardware. No duplexer, no, yeah. Yeah,
exactly. And for what we're using it for, it works really well that way. And the thing is, we took a major simplex frequency in 2 meters. And if you talk on 146.55, no problem. It won't go through that system unless you've got the 156.7 hertz tone on it. So if 2 people are talking simplex and can't talk on 5.2 and they go over to 5.5, no problem. It's not going to interfere with the system until somebody puts on a tone. Once the tone goes on, then you go through the computer and elsewhere through the system. And now, just recently, we've added Espanola. The search and rescue group managed to purchase, and their hams there too. They took our course, and they got Rusty's old repeater, B3WVU. Now it's still using that call sign until they register. One of the problems is we're kind of overseeing it because we're the advanced amateurs, but once one of them get an advanced license, they can take it on and apply for a license for it. But anyway, it's on 444.450, and it has a 156.7 hertz tone. It's only on a 50-foot tower with an X50 diamond antenna.
Yeah, we got to go to Espanola too, because it's not connected to the internet either. We gotta get off our haunches and start.
Well, they got to open up. We're not supposed to go anywhere.
I know. It's like my damn dog. My vet told me to socialize my dog. You know, she's 5 months old, and we're not supposed to socialize. So how the hell am I supposed to do that? So
there you go. So
very carefully.
Yeah. So anyway, needless to say, we're all using the same PL tone, 156.7. So try not to make it confusing. If we picked a different PL tone for the area, then it would get a little bit more confusing. So all the island systems use 156.7. So again, listen before transmitting, be courteous. Don't forget to ID before and after connecting like any other system so that they know. And a couple of systems here, star 7 or star 70 will tell you if the mode is already linked. The 3RQQ is almost always linked down south on the ERA network system. It's like having a large repeater covering Ontario. So WVU and RII would be a better choice to use for casual QSO because they're both repeaters if you're in Espanola or Manitowoc. All right. Now, as we talked about, future, if we do get internet at RMI, then adding an Asterisk node, and John will tell you this, we already tested it and it works great. We could put an Asterisk or an All-Star Link node on RMI and have that ability to connect through nets, Procom nets, you know, the various different systems that way. So we're going to take a look at a bunch of websites to give you an idea to look at how to connect. Using the DTMF keypad on your mic or your handheld, punch in *3 following the node number to connect. So *3 is to connect. Okay, unlike IRLP where you just have to type in the node number, All-Star requires a prefix and it's asterisk or *3, then the node number to connect to that. Okay, so if you wanted to connect to node number 2024, which is the WB6 NIL repeater in San Diego, California, you would punch in *3 2024. Then give your call sign to let anyone listening know that you've made a, you know, you've connected there. This is V3WVA listening. Afterwards, to disconnect the node, you have to enter *1. So *3 to connect. So make yourself a little sheet of paper that you're not going to lose. *3 to connect, node number. *1 disconnect, node number. Okay.
I think there's isn't there a 0 also? You can do *0 and it'll disconnect anything that's connected to it. I think that used to be anyway.
I'm not sure, John.
Yeah, I believe *10 disconnects the last node you had connected, and you don't have to specify the node number. But it gets a little sticky if you have more than one node connected to you. So we can talk about that later.
Okay. So, John, I'll just do a demo here and that. So your node number in Southampton again, or South Hemsing, or whatever it is?
Yeah, I'm 27884.
27884. All right. So what I'm going to do is take my handheld. We're now connected. So I'm going to hit *1 27884.
VA3WIK, Southampton, Ontario. Disconnected.
So now I'm disconnected to them by hitting *1 27884. Now RQQ is sitting alone, not connected to anything. So if I wanted to connect to John, I would go *3 27884.
You keyed your PTT, right?
Yes.
VA3WIK, Southampton, Ontario. Connected to VE3RQQ, Little Current, Ontario.
And there you've got the voice announcements. And if you don't recognize that wonderful voice, that is John. He did all the WAV files for every repeater.
Our local radio personality.
Yeah, there you go.
Who's that bozo?
Yeah.
Not so local radio personality.
So that's how you connect and disconnect. You know, a little bit more complicated. You got to put the *3 and *1. And tomorrow, will you remember that? Probably not. That's why you need to write it down on a piece of paper and remember it there.
Where's
Okay.
the list of the all-stars so that you have
Okay.
the addresses?
Hang on, guys. You guys are getting
Chill,
really,
calm down.
Like I'm getting it. Shut up, Al, and just get to the meat of the presentation. Okay. Hang tight, guys. Hang tight. All right. So having said that, let me go back over here. All right. Some commands you need to know your radio and punch in these codes. *7 will tell you the connection status of the node. *70, if you're using using the Espanola node, node number 2475 is Espanola's number. Repeat only means it is not connected, and node number 2475, node number 2359 transceive means 2475 Espanola is connected to little current 2359. And our node number in little current is 2359. So if I hit star, and what's the difference between *70 and *7, John?
Okay, I think *7 just tells you what's the local status of your node, and I think *70 tells you the local status of your node and any other nodes that are connected to you.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, so again, I'll just hit *70.
BE3RQQ, Little Current, Ontario. VA3WIK, Hampton, Ontario. Transceive.
So the word transceive means they're connected and they can talk to one another. Okay, so that's something that's kind of cool to have, the *7, *70. All right, and we'll do that again when John links up a bunch of systems. If you want to know the time, it doesn't normally go out and give the time, but it should give you, if I hit *81.
Good morning. The time is 10:55 a.m.
So it gives you the time on the system. So it's quite versatile in that it'll give you a lot of things to do. And then, oops, sorry, *1, then the node to disconnect. *3, the node number will connect. If you're using the little current node, 2359, punch in *32475 will connect to the Espanola, and *28505 will disconnect you from Manitowocing. So 28505 is the Manitowocing node number. 2359 is little current, and 2475 is Espanola. Those are the three node numbers. And we'll show you how to get there and find that out. And then *1 is the node to disconnect. Commands can vary a bit from node to node, but these are usually the standards. And I think the way John set it up across the province and that's what we have here. For example, RII has the following commands not available. *881 is enable parrot mode. It will repeat whatever it hears. Excellent tool to see if what you sound like getting into the machine. *880 will disable the parrot mode. *901, parrot once it's not already, if it's not already enabled. So, just to give an idea,
That might not work.
It might, because we're linked, right, John?
No, it might work. I just won't hear it at my end, but you should hear yourself at your end.
Okay.
It's basically like
*901.
it's like the echo function on D-Star, right?
I think that computer needs to be rebooted too, because try it, see if it works.
*901.
Yeah, sure.
V3AJB testing 1 2 3 4 5 5 4 3 2 1. No, it's not.
I think that the status, last time I went through Manitowoc too, I tried to do the status on it and it didn't work either. I think the computer needs to be rebooted.
Yeah. Maybe try it at your end, John. Judy's just calling me for a sec. I'll be right back, okay? Hang on a sec.
All right. Well, let's see what happens here. Hang on.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay. Well, I connected it on my end, but it only repeated back to me, so you guys didn't hear it on your end. I should probably have a look at that node to see what's enabled. Maybe it's just disabled in the commands, but so I'm not sure. Maybe the star 881 will work, but you have to remember to turn it off. So I think the repair it once thing probably is disabled, but you can manually.
I think, like I said, none of the commands will work. Yeah, you can't.
I have to look at what the setup in the node. It's been a long time since I looked at it. I was surprised that half the stuff is still working.
Well, the internet connection, the internet connection's been down for forever and 3 daggone days. You know, we need to go. I think maybe our contact for the internet in that area might have changed or something. I don't know. But nobody's looking after the internet connection, and Duncan goes up there from time to time and reboots the computer. So,
yeah, well, hopefully it'll get sorted out eventually once we get out from underneath this black cloud. As with anything, everything's falling apart,
including me.
Okay, thanks, John. I didn't hear what was going on, but thank you for filling in there. And yeah, so I mean, you know, it's a system in oh, something's going on.
No, it's just me. I tried the parrot thing on my end, and it repeated to me locally, but it didn't come to the link to you guys, so I was just turning it off.
Gotcha. All right, so copy down some websites in that. We're going to look at the first one, https or www.allstarlink.org. So if I click on that, again, it's www.allstarlink.org.
This is all being
This is all being recorded. This is all being recorded, eh?
Yes, it is being recorded. Sorry,
Okay,
there's
that's
another
good.
question? No? Okay, so this is the main web page. Can you see this? Does this pop up for you? No?
Yes.
Yeah, yes, we can see that.
Okay, all right. I just wasn't sure if it was transitioning from the PowerPoint presentation to the website.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Oh, you don't see it.
No, we're only seeing www.
Okay, not a problem. So let me do this. Yeah, I didn't think it would transition, so I just got to go like this. Okay, so if you put in, and you'll see it up here, www.allstarlink.org. This tells you about the All-Star Link website and gives you various information on it. It's a lot of it you may not need to know about, but it's got some good information in there if you wish. And it's got, if you want to download it for a Raspberry Pi and put an All-Star Link on a Raspberry Pi, it's got all the information and source code and all the neat stuff if you wanted to do your own that. It's relatively inexpensive to do one, and it works very well. We've got a computer up there, but we can transition it over to a Raspberry Pi if we need. We've already done it with IRLP, and there is the probability of putting this All-Star Link on the Raspberry Pi for the IRLP. Isn't that correct, John?
On
Yeah, I don't know if it'll sit on the same
Oh,
box.
okay. Okay.
It can be on a Pi, but I think it have to be a separate box,
I gotcha. Okay. And
which we should
Pi,
probably do if we get a chance to get up there and do anything this year.
yeah. Okay.
the Raspberry Pi's running the whole node in Espanola. It's repeater controller and everything.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't really take that much with it. So what I'll do, basically finish the PowerPoint presentation. So let me go to my Asterisk website, and let's go to the welcome to the
Actually,
all
Al,
stuff.
if you want, okay,
Yeah.
you're
Oh.
gonna go to the list. Okay, very good.